from PRX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's time for the podcaster. I said, that sounded more like I said poi. Poi is, I don't know what poi is. Also, how would I spell it? P-O-Y or P-O-I? Poi. Rhymes with koi. And I guess you could spell koi with a C-O-Y or a K-O-I. So I don't know. And if you're tuning in here here, and you're new, you may be confused. You say, what is this person talking about? Poi. Is that a word that's ever been used? I think so, somewhere. I want to think it's something, but I don't know. I don't quite know. I can't quite put my brain on it, or can't quite put my vocabulary is not expansive enough to know. You see, I'm familiar with those letters. Those are familiar sounds, pa and oi, and poi together. But that's where my knowledge ends, and that's why I make a sleep podcast. Believe it or not, what qualifies to make a sleep podcast? Well, honestly, it's a kind of what I'm lacking. That what qualifies me to make a sleep podcast is more of it's addition by subtraction, or the addition of subtraction, or just using words together, like in random. It's not totally random, but no matter what, welcome to Sleep With Me. It's a podcast to keep you company and take your mind off stuff so you could fall asleep. I'm here to be your friend in the deep, dark night, so welcome. This is very different. If you tried a lot of stuff to help you fall asleep, or you've never tried audio to help you fall asleep, maybe you've had a person in your life that's helped you fall asleep by just talking to you about nothing, or you've watched a show and barely paid attention. And that's kind of how Sleep With Me works. I'm a mild distraction. So I'm glad you're here. All you need to do is barely listen to me. So not too much pressure on your end. What you got coming up to expect, we got some support if you're listening to the ad-supported version, so you can listen for free. Then after that'll be a long, meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime. And later on, we'll have a bedtime story based on Dreaming of Newhart. So I'm glad you're here, and yeah, we're able to do this with people that support the show directly, support the sponsors, spread the word about the show. And the show's here to ease things in the deep, dark night, really, to keep you company so you could drift off or just be more comfortable where you are. So I'm really glad you're here. And yeah, these are a couple ways we're able to do this for you on a regular basis. Sleep With Me podcast is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states. All right, everybody, it's time to talk about tonight's sponsor, Helix Sleep. And I do not know what you're waiting for. If you listen to the show, I really feel like I should hear from almost every single listener. Have you taken that Helix Sleep quiz, and which mattress did you get matched with? Because it's going to fit you and your sleep needs, just like my Helix fits mine. I love my Helix mattress. When I took the quiz a long, long time ago, wonderful long relationship I've had with my Helix. When I took that quiz, I wanted something where I could sleep on my side, I could sleep on my stomach. I don't want to get hot and stuffy. I got matched with the Helix Dusk. I picked the Helix Dusk Luxe. And night after night, that is what allows me to be here for you, is the good rest I get in my Helix mattress. So I'm happy with my Helix. Which Helix are you going to be happy with, right? Like, what are you sleeping in right now? Is it made for you and how you sleep? Did you and your partner take a quiz, like the Helix quiz, together and say, yeah, that's the one for us? Because you could do that right now with the Helix quiz. And then the mattress could come straight to your door, shipped free of charge, ready to go. And you could start your long-term relationship with a mattress that's there for you and how you sleep, what you prefer. Think about how much better you're going to be sleeping in that situation. And Helix always has a great deal. So get over there. Go to helixsleep.com/sleep for 20% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/sleep for 20% off site-wide. helixsleep.com/sleep. Thanks, everybody. All right, we're trying this new thing called No Stone Unturned, where I'm going through these testimonials from real listeners who benefit from the show and looking at, hey, I know I benefit from the show. I know it makes my life better, but there was this one thing standing in my way of supporting it directly. So if this is the thing standing in your way, listen up. If you can afford to support the show, it makes your life better. If you rely on the show relies on you. All right, this is from Lori, who said, I decided to support the show because I was using it enough to sleep and it was valuable to me, just like any other thing that would help me get to sleep. I tend to think if something is valuable and useful enough to me, I should support it so it doesn't go away. As a content creator myself, I know most people consume my content for free. I also know without the support of quite a few people, I wouldn't be able to continue to do so. So I get it, and I hope other people do. The biggest obstacle to me for supporting the show was that I only have so much money to spend, and there are many things I'd like to support. However, as you point out, sleep is crucial to our health, our happiness, and without it, it's going to be tough. So I prioritize to Sleep With Me for support. And I empathize with you as a content creator who wants to try to do something useful for the world. So it made me feel like it was the right thing to do by supporting the show because it's something that benefits my life quite a bit. So if you identify with what Lori says, you get a lot out of the podcast. You just want ad-free content. You want you want more stuff. And you want the podcast to be here for you to keep making your life better. And then as a result, you get to help out a lot of other people that can't support the show. But it really comes down to that. That's the only question. Like, are you listening to me? Are you hearing me? Does Sleep With Me make your life better? Do you count on it? Go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Thanks so much. Oh, Mystery Bard. A lot of people help out on this show. Who are they?
Chris Posty Poster Son sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. The Legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team. Down or on the website. I am the Mystery Bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at JonathanMann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your narrators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mystery Bard. And don't forget, the most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me is with sleep phones. You can get Sleep With Me merch, Sleep With Me branded sleep phones at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep phones. And use Sleep With Me at checkout to get $5 off your order. The only way you can get the Sleep With Me merch editions is sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep phones. Thanks, everybody. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it the bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake. It could be thoughts you're thinking about, thoughts about the past, the present, the future, thinking thoughts, thoughts, man. The more I talk about them, the more I think about them. And the more I think about them, the more I think about them. Thinking. I don't know if that's a bumper sticker or a shirt. How come it doesn't say that when, I realize the computer's not actually thinking, but maybe these new AIs are. Instead of buffering, why don't you say, hey, I'm thinking. So hold on one second, thinking. That does seem like something someone would say. More in a movie context, they say thinking. Could I have caramel apple? Mother, could I have a caramel apple? Thinking. No. But you could just use it to buy time. How come they say also, we're really on a roll here, tangents. I don't know the history of buy time either. It's one of the things you really can't purchase. I'm delaying tactics, I guess, is what we use in this podcast. Buying time would be a metaphorical way of be more like borrowing time. No, more like inflating time. Yeah, and sleep with me, time's like a balloon where but a very, we're not going to overfill it. Believe me, don't worry. It won't be overfilling any balloons, but we'll put a little more air in there, It's almost like if balloons had enough, whatever that is, latex in them, where like shaped balloons, where they could then become a round balloon if you put more air into it. You say, what is that? Big Hero? No, that's not what it's called. That's the name of the movie. Baymax? Yeah. I'm just going to put a little more air in it so it looks, and then it'll look like a balloon. Well, why would you do? I just bought a Baymax. I bought a Baymax balloon, though. Right, but I was trying to talk about how the podcast, I just could put a little more air. Well, your air is hot air. It's more warm air. I mean, believe it or not, but this is empty. It's more empty air. You're right about that. Though I think if you asked a plant, it would say, "Oh no, that's my food." That dude breathes out my food all the time. Do plants really say that to you? No, but I mean, sometimes I like to imagine I'm in a musical and plants are, and then they're, and actually by being in a musical with plants, that's what I like when I think of, what's the name of the musical? Well, it was another project I never did, but it was called My Own Personal Biome. Really? Do you need personal in there? My Own Biome. I mean, will there be a song, My Own Biome? But I think for a title, My Own Personal Biome's more confusing, and it's a pretty long title, though. Personal's a long word. You're right about that. Believe it or not, I was trying to start a sleep podcast, and then I went on a tangent about a tangent about a tangent, and now I'm making a musical for plants or with plants. Well, unless you're getting paid in it's whatever, O2. Well, I kind of am getting paid in O2. I mean, it's a pretty sweet relationship me and plants and I have. And then person will say, well, you could never have enough plants to, and I say, okay, well, thanks for, whatever. Okay, let's just say I got phytoplankton. Well, I don't know if you understand what phytoplankton is either. Well, you're right about that. But if I'm making a musical, if I was making a musical with my own personal plants phytoplankton could not. Well, if it's imaginary, they could be a part of my own personal biome. That's what makes it personal. It's like step into my plankton room. Wouldn't that be? Well, yeah, it would be a room with water, obviously, and sunlight. And yeah, every day. It's actually, the musical's a daily musical. It's will last a long time, and I go in that room and sing to the phytoplankton, and it's quite a number. And the phytoplankton love it because, at least in my imagination, I breathe out carbon dioxide, right? And at least in the musical, in the plot, it's not a major plot point. It's just a delaying tactic of a sleep podcast. So yeah, whatever you're thinking about, thoughts, I'm going to take your mind off of feelings. Any feelings coming up for you related to your thoughts or my thoughts? That's another thing you'll rarely hear is people that have strong thoughts about phytoplankton, except for, people that are in the biz, in the plankton biz or plankton adjacent businesses. PABs, they call those, by the way. So, trust me, don't bring it up anywhere. You're not in a PAB, are you? What's PAB? Plankton adjacent business. Oh, yeah? Which plankton adjacent business are you in? Musicals. I make a musical for not just plankton, but I make a musical where plankton and other plants are They're kind of like the chorus, like the audience, but they're on stage. Really? That's a plankton adjacent business. I don't know if you know what adjacent means because it sounds like the plankton are actually part of that business. My plankton is none of your business. So keep my plankton out of your ears. No problem. I've never agreed with anything more fully. There's nothing I'd be more happy to do than keep your plankton out of my mouth and my ears and out of my business. Because it's your own personal plankton. Maybe it could be my own personal plankton. My own personal plankton really does rhyme. Hopefully I'll remember to text myself right now. Oh, but I don't have my phone, so that I should do an episode called My Own Personal Plankton, because that really is nicely alliterative. But yeah, so it could be feelings, anything coming up for you emotionally, though I did say rarely, but not always, do people have a strong emotional reaction to plankton. Some do. You say, oh boy, that is zooplankton. Just don't even bring it up with me. I just don't even want to talk about it. No problem. I'll just move on. Thoughts, feelings, physical sensations. It could be changes in time, temperature, routine. You could be going through something, getting over something, traveling, have guests, be in the middle of something, maybe work a different work schedule. The only reason I go through some of that stuff is so you know you're not alone. Even though you're listening to this, there's other people it's weird. We're together, alone together, and together alone with this podcast across the world. There's people listening. And if you're new, believe it or not, some of those people are here rooting for you and hoping this podcast can help you like it helped them, because, they've gone through something similar to whatever's keeping you awake, and they know how it feels. And maybe even I know how it feels, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep, trouble waking up, whatever it is, thoughts, feelings, physical sensations, all the stuff I list. I know what it's like, and I know it's like to dread bedtime. And that's really in the end why I make this show, because I want to help you, because I've been there in the deep, dark night. You know what that means. And I mean, it's not even always at night, right? So I want to help out if I can, not only because I know what it feels like for me, and that can help me be like, man, is it like that for you? I couldn't find anything else to help me out that would work for me on a regular basis. And a lot of the stuff I tried frustrated me. And so I made this show to help out people that are looking for something like this, a strange friend to talk to you about nothing in the deep, dark night, and to go on a lot of tangents. And I also make it because you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a place where you could get the rest you need so your life is more manageable tomorrow. A bedtime you don't have to dread, that you could at least maybe feel neutral about or look forward to. And say, well, at least I got my boyfriend there to keep me company and take my mind off of stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. Or I feel neutral. Oh, boy, do I feel neutral. There's only a few things I feel neutral about. The podcast I listen to every night. And plankton. Most planktons, not all plankton. In fact, I don't know anything about plankton. I mean, there's a couple assumptions I make about plankton. But, obviously I'm not going to make I guess I'm publicly admitting I just made a rear end of the plankton in me, but, I don't even know what I was talking about. So I'm glad you're here. I hope this show can help you. It's basically so that tomorrow you're rested and you can get the rest you need on a regular basis. And ideally you're out there flourishing in the world. So the way the show works is I send my voice across the deep, dark night. I use a lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. So I go off topic, I get mixed up, then I double back. Then I'm like, wait a second, what was I talking about? I go on, I've already done it. Pointless meanders and superfluous tangents. We've had a few tonight already. And that's all to keep you company and take your mind off stuff so you can fall asleep. The thing is, it does take some getting used to. Most people, when they get here, you're skeptical. Why wouldn't you be skeptical or doubtful? why wouldn't you be frustrated, right? You're having trouble sleeping, and now you're looking for something to help you out. And this show's very different. Probably not what you expected. So just give it a few tries and see how it goes. This show doesn't help everybody, but for the people who regularly listen and support the show that I've heard from, it took 2 or 3 tries to like, oh, now I get it. He was serious. He doesn't know anything about plankton, but he loves saying it. And then he loves thinking about, he doesn't know what a biome is really either. He's familiar with those words, and he likes to use them. He's just a friendly, he doesn't know what inane is either, but he may be inane. He may be other things that rhyme with that too. But he's just here to keep me company. So that takes some getting used to. And some people never like me, and that's okay. So if you already find you're like, man, I would never plankton. I'd like to have you walk the plankton. And I'd say, it depends on the plankton. I mean, and I'd have to ask for permission. I mean, I could in the musical, maybe I'll put my feet over the edge of the pool and like kick it. If that's, once we check with the plankton expert, But just trying to think how much, if that'll affect the budget of the musical, if we have to ring in a plankton expert, holy moly. But what was it? Oh, most people don't like me. And that's okay. So I have a website set up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you. And that has other sleep podcasts on there and sleepy stuff. So you could find something that works for you if this show does not work for you. But for most people it works for, it takes a few tries. Because one, this is a podcast you don't listen to. You kind of just barely listen, like a kind of background noise that you could pay attention to. Like an audiobook you're barely interested in. You say, I'll follow along for a little while, but, once they start talking about plankton, I'm not going to be paying attention. So, yeah, just give it, so it takes some getting used to even to do that, to just barely listen. It's also, this is a sleep podcast. I've been making it 11 years, 12 years maybe, but it's a sleep podcast that doesn't put you to sleep. That's a little secret. I'm here to keep you company while you fall asleep, not to put you to sleep. I'm here to take your mind off stuff, and then you fall asleep. There is no pressure to fall asleep with this show. There's a reason the episodes are over an hour. It's so I'm going to be here whether you're awake or asleep. If you can't sleep at all, I'm going to be here to the very end, talking about stuff, then talking about Newhart and dreams and stuff like that, to keep you company, because there's people who are listening who can't sleep at all or who need a break during the day. And I'm here for them and for you in a way, like, so you don't have to listen to me, but you could listen to me. Because my job is not to put you to sleep. It's to be your bore friend, your bore bae, your bore sib, your bore bud, your neighbor, your bore bee, your bores, your borley, your Borloff, your Bor Sib, Borcuz, Borbra, your best bore friend forever, to just take your mind off stuff while you drift off. And that takes some getting used to, too. You see, I thought this was a podcast where you carried me off into dreamland. And I say, well, it's more, I guess if the balloon metaphor didn't work, but my hot air could carry you off into dreamland. So just see how it goes. What else do you know? Most people don't like me. Takes some getting used to. Show's very different. I don't listen to you, but it doesn't put me to sleep. But what other good news? Oh, structure of the show's very different too. But it's very intentional, and the show is adjustable. So let me just tell you about that so you know. Show starts off with a greeting, so you feel seen and welcomed in. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. And then I say something silly. And you say, okay, I could check that podcast out. Doesn't sound too bad. I mean, it sounds like creaky dulcet tones and not making a lot of sense, but I'll give it a try. Then there's the show's ad supported, so that paying for it is optional. If you don't want ads, you get that on Sleep With Me Plus. But most people like to listen to the ad-supported version linearly, and that's okay if you don't. You just get that on Sleep With Me Plus. But after the support is our long, meandering intro, which is separate from the support. It's a show within a show where I ease you into bedtime. Like, it's like takes me like 15 to 20 minutes to introduce the podcast, which is funny, right? But I follow the same structure every time, but the tangents are different. So it's familiar, but it has variety. And I think that's one of the important things. It feels familiar, but it's unpredictable. So whatever part of us keeps us awake, while it could easily point holes in my vocabulary and my logic, it also is, it doesn't know what's coming next. So it kind of has to be distracted and listen. But the other purpose of the intro is to ease you into bedtime. The intro is not designed to put you to sleep. It does put a small percentage of people to sleep. But for most people, they're getting ready for bed, they're in bed getting comfortable, or they're winding down. And it's really nice if you don't have a wind down routine. Like, think about trying one out, because it's really nice to get eased into bedtime, and listening to this intro as a part of it. It's nice, I think, and it's a little bit of a treat. So, yeah, that's what the intro, it just kind of, it gives you a buffer period between being awake and falling asleep. Then there'll be support, and then there'll be our bedtime story. And all told, I'll be here like a little bit over an hour. And I think that's everything you need to know. Like, I'm really glad you're here. And if you're a regular listener, welcome back. If you're new, I know. I mean, this is just me being me, but, give it a try, see how it goes. I'm really glad you're here. I work really hard. So do a team of people. And I'll tell you, I really believe in the purpose of this show. This is like the first intro I'm recording in the new year. You'll be listening to it well into 2025. And I know how important this show is to a lot of people. And it's important for me to make it because I know what it's like in the deep, dark night. And I just want to help in this way that I can help. And I appreciate all the help I get in doing that because I couldn't do it. It's like it's like kind of like that car. It's like me and the plants, we work together to do it. I mean, the plants would say we do all the work, but you know what I mean? So thank you for everybody that helps the show exist because it couldn't exist without the people that help it. And it wouldn't exist without the people that fall asleep to it. So, yeah, that's cool, I think. A lot cooler than what the plants in my brain are saying about me. It would be fun, though, like, what about a stand-up comedy club for plankton? Like, I don't know if I'd have any jokes. It'd just be like, zooplankton. Who plankton? And it'd be just as quiet. It'd be funny. It'd be like, you could do like one of those videos where it's a split screen and they say, Scooter doing stand-up at a plankton comedy club. Scooter doing stand-up comedy at a stand-up comedy club, and the sounds of the audience would be the same. It'd just be, air. The jokes would be the same, too. They're not quite jokes. Partially, some assembly, Scooter's jokes, not more than some assembly required. So anyway, I'm glad you're here. I really appreciate you checking the show out or coming back. Couldn't do it without you. And we do it with a lot of support from the listeners. So here's a couple messages of support. Thanks. Everybody, this is Scoots here. This is a particular message. I'm going to be reading a testimonial from somebody who supports the show directly. This message is only for people that, you get a lot out of the podcast. You listen to it 2 or more times a week. If you listen all night long, or you listen to like 10 episodes a month, 12 episodes a month, you're the one I'm trying to get the message to. If you can afford to support the show, if you lean on the podcast, if it makes your life better, listen close to this testimonial and see if you identify with anything this listener said, because this is how we're able to be here for you. If you count on the podcast, we really do count on you to support the show back, but only if you're able to. And the podcast makes your life better. If it's a part of your life, I'd love it if you'd be a part of the life of the podcast, because that's how we're able to be here for you. All right, this comes from Sarah, who said, sleep with me helped me get better sleep and get out of my head when I was dealing with a lot of thinking. It's a way more valuable tool in my life than things I pay money for. Plus, I feel like Scooter's a friend in the deep, dark night. I mean, it seems wild, though, to pay for something that's free. Like, really, I could keep using the free version, right? But honestly, I wanted a better experience with story-only shows. I want to be able to skip the intro, not have a change in pace, not have the singing or the ads. And really, I can tell how much thought and support and personal commitment Scooter makes, and I want to support that. So, yeah, if you identify with what Sarah said, think about supporting the show back. But that's all it comes down to. Is sleep with me a part of your regular life? Does it make your life better? Are you listening to me right now? Are you hearing what I'm saying? And can you do so? Are you willing to support something back that supports you and your well-being? Are you that rebellious to overcome whatever's in the way and say, yeah, this makes my life better. I want it to be here. If that's true for you, don't wait. Support the show right now at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Dreaming of Newhart. This is Scooter. I'm just about to turn things over to Robert Bob and the team he's working with, analyzing his dreams. Dreaming of Newhart is a TV recap episode based on the idea that the sitcom Newhart from the 1980s and 90s. Again, it's not a fact-based podcast, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it may. Yeah, I don't know. That entire run of that sitcom was a dream had by the main character, Robert Hartley, in the Bob Newhart show. So the main character in the Bob Newhart show was named Robert Hartley, and he was married so they had recurring characters and everything like that, and he was married to Suzanne Plachette, Emily, but when he would dream at night, apparently he was dreaming that he was a Vermont innkeeper named Dick Loudon. So this show, Dreaming of Newhart, takes that in a way, and we try to look at through like sleepy fugue states. We imagine if that all that is true. So that, what if like an episode of the Bob Newhart show was the day life of Robert Hartley, and the Newhart episode was the dream life of Robert Hartley, and they went in to talk to somebody, recapping these things, what would happen? Oh, and then on top of that, to make it even more lulling and meandering, is that what if the person like listening to Bob's dreams used an AI dream expert, an expert is in big time quotes, to analyze some things from the dream and to simulate a dream. So quite a lot of layers here. And so, yeah, let them take it away. Hey, Bob, come on in. Thanks. Bob, you seem a little hesitant to, I'm always hesitant to come here. But you seem more, there's something, yeah, I'm not, my dream is, I'm not, I understood. I'm just not looking forward to discussing my dream, but I agreed to, and because of my profession, I believe that it could be insightful talking to you about my dream and hearing your assistance. I'm looking forward to learning, maybe, and going against my instinct, which is not to tell anybody about this dream. Well, I'm glad, Bob, and I'm glad you kind of sent me a message. I thought it was a coded message, but now I realize you were being truthful. And I said to myself, Holy Albie, or Holy Sylvia. Who is Sylvia? Okay, could we just talk about my dreams and not do a bit about it? Sure, Bob. Why don't you run through the basics of your dream, and then we could go from there, okay? Okay. All right, in the dream, this is the same recurring dream and characters. I'm Dick Loudon, innkeeper, married to Joanne. run in a bed and breakfast inn in Vermont. It's winter, spring. I think it should be in the dream. It should be spring, but it's still winter and very snowy and cold. And in the beginning of the dream, Stephanie, who is she's the one who she's supposed to be the maid and the housekeeper of our inn, but she's not good at her job. And she's a person I like in the dreams, but she's not a great employee. And in the beginning of the dream, that's how she's behaving. She's like being sassy, I'd say, or sassing like a tween would the guests about their meals and about what they ordered, about them not mixing up their orders. She mixed up farina and oatmeal and said it doesn't make a difference. And Joanne, my wife in the dreams, my dream wife, tries to say, hey, can't you do your job? She also works in the restaurant because but she's tired of the winter. And I'm a little passive aggressive with her in the dream. Also, George loves the winter. George is our fix-it person, handy person. So, yeah. And then, so the main reason Stephanie's unhappy is because her boyfriend, Peter, has canceled their vacation 3 times. He's the one that runs my show, Vermont Today. That's a recurring part of some dreams. He's very kind of, I don't know, he talks in some sort of language, like a dream language. I wouldn't call it lingo. So he's there to tell Stephanie in the dream, hey, we're going on vacation. I got 2 tickets to Bermuda, 2 tickets to paradise. Also, I was aware that one of the paintings in the dining room of the inn, there's a lot of Melville-esque paintings in the inn. I don't know if I don't think with the rest of the stream that's going to be important. But then she says, I'm going on vacation. We say, well, you got to ask for time off 15 days ahead of time. Nope, we're leaving tomorrow. I'll be gone 7 days. And Joanne kind of takes her side, so whatever. I'm still like, oh, it's really important that our person who works for us has a tan. Go for it. We'll have to manage. And we've been doing it. She's been working for us for 2 years. It's been a lot. Then all of a sudden, a goat comes in the dining room. And the goat's following Peter, or not Peter. Why do I keep calling him Peter? But is that his name? I don't know. But the goat comes in and it starts eating off of people's plates. Everybody runs out. Then Larry, Daryl, and Daryl show up, and they introduce themselves like they do every time. They say, this is our goat, Martha. And I say, Martha. They go, yeah, we just named her. Daryl wanted to do Lassie, but we didn't like that. We didn't agree. We built consensus. We see, my wife says, there's a dining room. There's no place for a goat. Can you get the goat out of our dining room? And he says, oh, yeah, I was just having her in the den. But in the dream, this has happened before. She got in the shower with me. Even though it's, a dream, she's been coming in all the time, 8 shoes, butted guests. But they don't seem to understand the boundary I'm trying to set, which is keep your goat out of my inn. And I said, can't you tie the goat up like a dog in your yard? And they say, yeah, but she's not going to like that. She likes watching repeats of the show Soul Train, he says, on TV. So I'm fed up with the goat. Then Stephanie's getting ready to leave on her trip. She's very excited, packing, all that. She's got a lot of bathing suits. What else? She's like, I'm not bringing anything else. I'm just planning on. And they said, well, what about the sand? What about shoes? She goes, oh, no, I'm not going to the beach. Michael, I keep calling him Peter, but Michael's his name now, I remember. He shows up, cancels the trip again because he has work. He has something going on with work. And he's like, I'm sorry, but I brought you a bracelet. And obviously Stephanie's disappointed. Maybe I'll just go on the trip without you. And then I go into my office and the goat is eating my book. Like, cause in the dream, I'm like, I help write, how-to books and I'm like a kind of writer for people. But the goat has eaten up all the book, the first 3 chapters, and I can't believe it. Michael makes a lot of comments about my writing, and I'm really not happy about this, because it was due. Like, the reason I had it out was like it was a hard copy. I had to submit a hard copy to my publisher. And I said, Michael, you take the goat out with you. Get you and the goat, get out. You're neither one of you's on my good list. And then I say, I'm calling a goat patrol. Then the goat comes back in because Michael can't control it. So I call the goat patrol. I say, goat patrol, like this is not a goat lord game. Come pick this goat up. Which, I don't know, I guess even in the dream I said, that's a reasonable behavior. I asked the guys to take care of their goat for the well-being of the goat and everybody else, and they didn't listen. So they don't. Then we have more recurring stuff with Stephanie in the vacation, George and his love of snowflakes, and winter, and talking about all the positives. I'm trying to fix my manuscript in the dream. You know, I'm trying to call them and tell them, yeah, it's going to be late because a goat ate it. They're not going to believe it. And then Larry, Daryl, and Daryl show up, and they're like, okay, we're not speaking to you anymore. And I said, what are you even talking about? And they say, yeah, our goat. We had to go free our goat from, he says, happy days are gone forever. We're now in a feud. Like, so Larry, Daryl, and Daryl are feuding with me because they couldn't control their goat. And I say, what do you mean? They say, you're going to find out, goat teller honor. And I say, nah, I'm not going to feud with you. It takes 2 sides to feud, and I'm not feuding, so that's fine. Then they start doing stuff in the dream. They egg the inn. And then Stephanie's upset, so she's not helping the guests. People like in their honeymoon want to check in. It just keeps going. They like toilet paper George and the trees. So guests are checking out. They did this thing I never even knew people did, flatten our garbage cans. Because our garbage cans were made of aluminum or tin or whatever. You see, who does that? You flatten my garbage cans. But George said the toilet paper they used to toilet paper was very soft, so he's happy about that. So people are we don't want to check into the inn either. Like we had people drop in on their honeymoon. They said this is a honeymooner spot, and then so I'm like, this feud is a problem. And Joy and everybody else is like, you got to do something about this, Dick. I go, patience. I'm gonna outweight these guys. But they don't care. They pour ash down the chimney. All these things I never even heard of before, but really annoying. Like having ash come down your chimney, not great. It gets over everything. Toilet paper and a wet, precipitation time of year, especially with between wet snow, rain, and then ice. So it makes it harder to get out, at least during that time. They throw snowballs even at Michael. Then he's like, we're going to Bermuda. I changed my mind. I told work I had to deal with stuff. So I'm starting to get really fed up. So I take the hose. It's cold out. And I spray Larry, Daryl, and Daryl with the hose. I say, there you go. Now, Stephanie and Michael are ready to leave on their vacation, which is also important because after I hose them, they plow in our driveway, so we can't even get out of the driveway because they have a plow, right? So they put, there's no exit to our driveway. Unfortunately, I didn't have a plow. So then Stephanie's like, I got to go on vacation. You're going to have to talk to I got to go to the airport right on my trip. Not only have we lost all these guests, but it's my vacation is important, right? So I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? I don't even know what to do. And Stephanie was like, I'll deal with it then. I'm going on my vacation. This is one of the part of the dreams where I know, like, everything is a dreamer. But Stephanie goes over to the Minuteman Cafe and gift shop, and the goat is over there watching TV, like on a tube television. And I'm with her. Larry, Daryl, and Daryl are about to egg Stephanie and I. And she says, can you stop the feud, please? And I said, like, who's going to give up this nonsense, right, and be adults? And they say, sure, we'll stop the feud. You give us the in, and that'll end the feud. And I'm like, give you my in to end a feud? Like, it's not going to happen. Like, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Like, absolutely not. Also, there was a sign in the store. They sell a Yankee Doodle dog for $1.99. It was one of the meals they sold. Okay, so they want the in. I'm like, no, I'm not going to sell. And then they say, okay, okay, this is where I said it was. Now, this is only like... this is just what happened in the dream. I'm just telling you. They say, okay, like, we'll stop the feud if you kiss our goat and apologize. Or maybe they say apologize and kiss the goat. Because I agree. I'm like, can we just stop this thing? And Stephanie was like, please, like, kiss the goat. Please apologize and kiss the goat. This is like, this has got to cease so I can go on vacation. And I say, I'll apologize to your goat, but I'm not going to kiss a goat. And they say, well, you're the one that told on the goat. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm not going to, plus I'm like, I don't know what to, like, so I apologize to the goat, Martha. I say, I'm sorry, Martha. And then I kiss Martha on the forehead. Because mostly Stephanie's like, please let me go to Bermuda. And I don't know, Martha had horns too, like big horns. So I don't understand. I don't know anything about goats, but I say, yeah, I'm sorry I called the goat patrol on you. But you would probably, even if I had the game Goat Lord, you probably would have eaten the cards, Martha. So I'm not happy about that. So that's it. That was like the dream. Oh, wow, Bob. That's very interesting. Oh, is it? It is, Bob. I find it very, 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 very interesting. Yes. Okay. Well, I asked my assistant, I told my assistant to listen to the very essence and simulate a dream, Bob. So is it all right if I give you the simulated dream? Yeah, sure. That's fine. Okay. Let me just look it up here. Dream. Okay. So it's similar based on your dreams in the past. In this dream, you're the innkeeper of a charming Vermont inn. It's bustling with guests and peculiar happenings, quirky, humorous atmosphere. My inn's always bustling in your assistant's dreams. Now, Larry comes from next door, I guess, apparently with his brothers. And he has an unusual request, a temporary home for his goat, which he required in a bizarre trade. And the goat's causing chaos at his place, so he wants to find a more suitable place. Yeah, that would have been a no right away. Yeah, I know, Bob, but in the dream, according to my assistant, you agree. And the goat causes mischief, chewing on stuff, butting into doors. But the guests love it. They find it amusing and disruptive. And in the chaos, you try to negotiate with the goats and run the inn. But in this dream, the goat has a secret. It's actually enchanted and can speak, but it can only speak through dreams. So the goat can transfer whimsical wisdom via dreams, which is profound. Okay. Then Larry, it doesn't say Daryl and Daryl, though. They come up with a game that gives the guests of the inn a chance to win a day with the goat by doing competitions around the inn. And people love this. Okay, that part sounds like reasonable. And then you wake from the dream to find a calm morning with the guests talking about their day with the goat. And then you realize that's really a message about embracing the unexpected and finding joys and peculiarities of life. Okay, great. But yeah, it's interesting. Okay, Bob, the first part of the dream was the long winter into the spring. Stephanie frustrated, sassing you, but Michael, keeps postponing their vacation. Now, my assistant thought that the Freudian version of this would be like frustration and stuff like that. Stephanie's behavior may be some sort of inner tension or unmet desires. Maybe there's something about the endless winter has something to do with deeper feelings about not, being powerless in some part of your life. Okay, we'll see when I tell you about my day. Okay, maybe the Jungian is the season is a symbol, enduring winter, stagnant phase in your personal growth, prolonged period of introspection, and maybe Stephanie's your shadow expressing impatience towards the circumstances that may feel unchangeable. Or maybe a modern version might be your subconscious of like how your behavior is towards yourself and others. Maybe Stephanie or Michael are mirrors of your own delays and setbacks or procrastinating. Maybe there's the influence of Saturn, delay of spring and vacation can be linked to Saturn. Maybe there's a time where, I don't know. What if, my assistant did have some tough time, but I'll be honest, Bob, my assistant had a little bit of a misunderstanding. Okay. So I think my assistant somehow forgot we were analyzing dreams, but this said, what if the winner is like something that was placed, like you irritated a magic user, so they placed a thing on the inn or the whole town, and Stephanie's irritation is like what's calling you to uncover the CURSE. Okay. I guess that could be true, too. What do you mean, Bob? Well, like, what if because that's like a TV show. Okay, Bob. And in the TV show, like Wanda, I haven't watched the next season with Agatha yet. I've watched 1.5 episodes. Okay, Bob. And so I'm just wondering if that was a plot of that show or something. It is like that you don't know you're in a dream. Or like you're under influence of a magic user. Okay, Bob. It could also be weather control. What if there was some sort of weather control that didn't work out? And Stephanie's sassiness is trying to make you aware of it. Okay, sounds similar. What if it's a symbolic Groundhog Day where you're symbolically stuck in a repeat of every day until you make a change to the loop like the movie? Has your assistant been watching a lot of shows? I don't know, Bob. I did try to redirect him eventually. Oh, they did. So they said, okay, mysterious figure, weather control, groundhog. Maybe it's for SAD, like Stephanie. Oh, no, this is still, my assistant's still off. What if Stephanie finds a hidden door that leads to a perpetual summer? Or it could be a time traveler intervention. Maybe a time traveler is about to visit to fix a timeline error. Did your assistant sign up for like Disney Plus? And I don't know. Again, Bob, I don't know. I'm sorry. Okay, let's talk about the goat running around the inn, getting in the shower with you, and Larry, Daryl, and Daryl. Okay, Freud might look at the unleashed goat as natural instincts, desires that you feel uncomfortable with, and they're manifesting in disruptive ways versus structure. The shower, you were vulnerable, you were getting cleaned. Maybe it's an unwanted or unexpected intrusion into your space. Maybe it's some sort of primal urge, though, or an untamed aspect of your psyche. So you're saying it's a good thing? I didn't shower with the goat, by the way. It got in the shower with me. I'm just trying to picture that, Bob. Like, what? Like, do you have a shower door that open? How's a goat open a shower door? It was a dream. Oh wow, it's just a touchy area, huh? Showering with a goat. I think that would be touchy for everybody. Okay. I mean, I guess it's maybe a piece of modern playwriting, so we shouldn't. You're correct, right? You shouldn't judge. I'm not judging, Bob. I'm just interpreting through my AI assistant. What about for a young animal as a shadow? Maybe traits or impulses you try to keep under control. And maybe in the shower is a good time to confront those shadow aspects directly. Could be urging you to integrate these wild or untamed aspects into your conscious life. Maybe acknowledge and manage them instead of letting them run wild. Okay. Again, I'm just telling you what my assistant came up with, and it's out there. Okay, well, I've never heard, I'm already laughing. Okay, so what if the goat is a spirit guide that's appearing, trying to lead you to acknowledge things? Sounds like Freud and Jung. What if it's a comedic reality shift? What if the inn is a stage of a sitcom and the goat's aspects provide comic relief, reflecting the chaos of everyday life in a humorous and lighthearted manner? No one would believe that. What if it's a shower time machine? I'm feeling like your assistant's been streaming a lot of things. A shower with a goat triggers a time slip. And each drop of water gives you a glimpse of past or future events at the inn, with the goat as a catalyst for temporal travel. The goat could be a chaos theory ambassador, chaos theory in action, as Dr. Malcolm would say, Ian Malcolm. So all of these are like, I don't know, Bob. I tried to redirect my assistant later on. But yeah, chaos theory, maybe this is how small unpredictable factors can create significant events. Maybe the goat is a community symbol. Unstrained behavior reflects community issues at the inn. Okay, so these are more, I like these actually now that you're talking about it. Because I redirected my assistant after this. I guess that's fine. Magical realism adventure. The goat has magical qualities. It transforms the inn into a realm where ordinary rules don't apply. Whimsical and magical adventures. It's kind of like the Magic School Bus. The goat in an inn. So you're saying anytime the goat would be, I like this. Anytime the goat's in the inn, it's magical realism. Goat leaves the inn, no more magic powers. Possibly, Bob. It's only a dream, though. Okay, then the dining room's no place for a goat. And the chaos, let's see. Yeah, my assistant really had a tough time. Maybe it's a desire for leisure. Maybe it was what Freud would say. The goat that watches TV. Oh, yeah, it had trouble when you said it, my assistant just couldn't make any sense other than that it's chaos. But a goat that watches TV, your assistant has been your assistant got more reliable and out there. And now, I know, Bob, you get, we still pay the same for my assistant. Okay, maybe the goat watching TV is a desire for leisure. TV watching maybe is a projection of desires for relaxation. Could be in your shadow. Maybe a subconscious perception of human behaviors mimicked by animals in your dreams. Maybe Neptune is influencing this astrologically. Blurred lines between fantasy. What if the goat is a media critic? What if the goat provides humorous commentary on the shows it watches? Satire, popular TV critiques. It could be, this could be a part of an interspecies communication experiment. And it's a futuristic scenario where animals and humans can communicate, and TV is their common ground. I'd say that's not, I mean, if I'm going to talk to a goat about something, I think starting with a basic TV show might be a good place. What if it's the goat stream and the TV watching is, because the goat has a desire to watch TV and have a parallel experience to human beings? That would give us something to talk about, I guess. What if the TV is a magical portal that allows the goat or you to enter worlds on the screen? I don't think that, honestly, I realize we're talking about dreams. I don't think I'd want to put a goat in that kind of situation unless I had communicated. Because I'd say, are you sure you understand? That's very kind of you, Bob, not to put a goat. You don't want to send a goat into a parallel reality unless you're 100% sure the goat could handle it. Well, I don't think we could ever be 100% sure. I don't even know. I mean, I could never say I'm 100% sure I could handle it. So, yeah, putting a goat in that situation's just, okay. What if the television's a socializer and it breaks down interspecies barriers? Okay, I like where your assistant's heading with all this. It's out there, but, yeah. What if the goat is, planning on being influencer, so it gets seen, watching the goat watching TV becomes a thing. Watching what the goat's watching, that's kind of that's interesting. I think it would have a limited lifespan. Okay, what about this whole thing where you told on the goat and you kept trying to assert your boundaries, but they didn't listen, and then they were mad at you, even though they weren't caring for their goat or respecting your boundaries? I mean, that's some dream. It could have to do with conflict and authority. Freud might say that doing this is your desire for order and boundaries. So maybe something's happening with your personal life. Could be community dynamics. This could be a manifestation of your community or social group and some sort of chaos or untamed nature. My assistant said, what if this is some part of a mock trial with goats where you can have a humorous yet profound discussion about responsibility and community? What if the goat is a scapegoat? You're not joking, are you? That's what my assistant said. And it's social dynamics where the goat is becoming a scapegoat for larger issues. I mean, I guess in a sense it is really, Bob, right? I mean, if it was real, I guess you're right. Your assistant's right. I should have just explained that to Larry, Daryl, and Daryl, but they're not reasonable anyway. I mean, no disrespect to them, but they're the ones making their goat a scapegoat because they're not caring for it. Maybe it's a mystical mediator, or maybe a mystical figure intervenes, mediating between you and your neighbors. And what if the goat has a secret role to bring everyone together? What if the goat became mayor? Because your assistant's dreaming within its analysis, I think. The goat runs for mayor of the inn, which is a symbolic position, my assistant points out. So it becomes a community building thing. What if a documentary crew shows up? What if you have an ability to whisper to goats and you can make magical negotiations directly with the goat? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, I'm interested to think about my week. After this discussion, I've almost forgot that I even had a week to discuss. Okay, let's talk about the feud, telling on the goat, pouring ash, egging, toilet paper, snow plowing. Okay, Freud might say that this is some underlying or unresolved conflict. Are these individuals symbolic of anyone? Maybe the pranks are passive-aggressive stuff that you perceive, or maybe fear that you are doing it. Jungian shadow projection. Maybe these are parts of yourself you don't like or you don't want to acknowledge or confront or maybe even comfort. And these actions are internal conflicts about unexpressed frustration, comic misunderstanding. I don't think, this is where I finally realized my assistant needed to be redirected. It did take me a while, Bob, because it's so out there. Yeah, what if there was a comic misunderstanding, community intervention game, community-wide game, time warp prank? You want to hear about that, Bob? Let's do the time warp prank again. Okay, the feud triggers a time warp where each prank reverts the end back to a previous historical period, providing educationally humorous insights into history. What if it's a reality show unbeknownst to you, and but it eventually strengthens community ties? What if it's like your other dreams, dream within a dream, and you're rewriting the dream to be more collaborative? Your assistant's really putting a positive spin on all this. I like that. What if it's a mystical truce offering, and a mystical figure appears who often offers a way towards a truce? Okay. This is where I redirected my assistant. I don't know how successful it was. It said, okay, what if it's unconscious defense mechanisms, shadow play? Yeah, my assistant said, what if this is a reenactment of historical echoes? Or I don't know how my assistant got so lost, Bob. Transformation ritual, portals. I love that your assistant loves portals. Yeah, I mean, it was good like a few weeks ago when my sister was really out there. Okay, let's talk about to kiss the goat to end the feud. Freud, my assistant says, would say this is a reconciliation through unconventional means. Maybe this is kissing the goat as a symbolic gesture, making peace and reconciling that in a new way that you previously found difficult. Maybe this is, Jung would say, it's an embrace of the shadow. This is an acceptance of the shadow aspects. The goat, capricious and stubborn, might represent traits you're learning to accept or integrate. So congratulations. Maybe your assistant needs some of this, huh? Maybe. Maybe this is like modern, you're trying to resolve some sort of conflict in an unconventional way and achieve harmony. Maybe the goat is a symbolic mediator, and it's like a nature's healing role in peacemaking. Maybe there's some sort of magical realism when you kiss the goat, where old grievances resolve. So also, that'd be interesting if I brought a goat, like similar to when people work amends in certain programs, but instead you just show up with a goat and you kiss it, and then all of it dissolves. I guess that would be symbolic in that case, huh, Bob? I don't know. I mean, it sounds practical. I guess practical, it depends on how, like, if you live in maybe we could do this, instead of a place having a walkability score, they have a goatability score. Oh, this town's very goat-friendly. You think that'd be pretty rare, Bob? I mean, unless you want to drive around with your goat. Yeah, but I just think, like, so what would you, most places would, I don't know what a walkability score is, 1 to 100. So would you say, like, some sort of manufactured version of a walkable city would be close to 100? New York City, like Manhattan, or neighborhoods in New York, or certain neighborhoods in big cities would be 99s for walking, right, Bob? Not goats, right? And then, like, all of those would probably have a goatability score of, well, I mean, it'd be higher than 0 because you could walk with the goat at least. If it's walkable, it's somewhat goatable. Like, I understand. I'd say maybe a 30. I mean, where a farm, I think, would be the most goatable, but it wouldn't be walkable. So you're talking about a meta score, Bob. You're right, I am. You're combining a walkability. Do any apps do that? Combine a goatability score with a walkability score? Not yet, Bob. But what if this is about atonement? The kiss, is sometimes seen as a symbol of atonement and restoration of order. Maybe the goat is an oracle, and after the kiss, the goat speaks, offering wisdom. What if it's some sort of surreal peace agreement? And, yeah, I think your assistant has really started to dream, like, got caught up in the dreaming part. Yeah, this is interesting, Bob. I wonder what it says about my assistant. Seems to want good things, so what if it's transformation into a goat? After you kiss the goat, you transform into a goat, and you get to experience the world from the goat's perspective and understand and empathize with goats and other viewpoints. Wow, that's interesting. It's like, because we were talking about, because if you were a goat, you'd want to live in an area with a high goat ability score. Do you think all of our meeting together, Bob, has resulted in us coming up with a goat ability score? I don't know. Okay, well, let's talk about your week. Okay, so I was like finishing an article that Carol helps me rewrite, and I noticed this one thing. I just took notes. Carol was dressed very casually at work. I didn't like it. Jerry comes in wearing this giant bow tie, and he's going on a date. And I was like, "You're going on a date with a bow tie, a giant bow tie?" And I don't know. Then we talk a little bit about it because Jerry's not feeling great about himself, even though he's going on this date. He kind of feels old and dull, and that he's in the mouth care business. He says there's nothing. I don't know. He's feeling down. Then I'm having dinner with Howard and Emily. We're having sesame bean curd balls. But all of a sudden, Jerry shows up with his date, and Howard. This made me I was so bothered by this, even though I didn't say anything. Howard is clearly interested in Jerry's date, because those two aren't friends. They're both friends with me. And she's like a big traveler. She just is back. She was living in Singapore and then Shanghai, Hong Kong. And she's just big into traveling. And then Howard's still trying to, every time Jerry tries to talk or she tries to talk, Howard's trying to, be impressive and steal the show. And we're all talking about travel and not liking travel. And then Jerry says, okay, we're going to go out and get cheeseburgers. And Howard's like, I think I'll go with you two. And I was like, they're going on a date, man. Like, what are you doing? Another thing, and I didn't know, I think this was serious. She was trying to see the world, major places in the world in alphabetical order or visit nations in alphabetical order. Okay, then the next day I see Jerry. He's still down about himself. And he talks about, he has Muzak. He has a subscription to that actual thing because of people he helps. And then he has a giant happy tooth that was trying to cheer himself up with. So then he's telling me about his date that he was overcompensating. They went to his office. And then he said, I really this was an old girlfriend of his or old classmate of his, I think, back in school or something. And they get back, they're in his office. I was in his office talking about it while he's telling me about it in their office. And then I said, wait a second. And this is something I don't want to be, he said, no, I was just showing her my office. And he's like, I don't know, I'm falling for, he's like, I fell for her really fast because we already hadn't known each other. But she's like, no, I'm a traveler. I can't stand still. And then he said, well, I can't get you to stay here for a little while so we can see if we have a connection. She goes, no. And then he says, can I come with you? And yeah, then I met with one of my clients. He was in a really good mood. And said, what, are you stressed and covering it up? Then he said that about Jerry, because Jerry was in such a good mood. And so then there's this weird dynamic, and he goes, well, Jerry, you seem like there's something going on. Why don't you take my session? And I know, I meet with my friends as I give my friends sessions. So me and Jerry are talking about, because there's obviously something, he's very hyper. And I said, what's going on, man? And he says, I'm moving to Tahiti. And I'm just closing my practice down. And I'm like, what do you mean you're closing your practice down? Like, you worked so hard to build your practice. Like, you didn't even talk, like, you're definitely, I'm definitely moving. I already started closing it down. And he goes, maybe you could talk me out of it, but I don't think so. And I think I told, and now I can't remember because of all this dream talk. Like, I told him I wanted to be a tap dancer, but, I realized it wasn't realistic. I took tap for 3 years, believe it or not. But then I tried a couple tap contests. I couldn't win it. So it's just more of like I should have just used it as a hobby, but then it was more of a fantasy that I was going to win a tap contest. It was going to change my life. So then he says, listen, I know I'm going. This didn't change my mind. I'm in love. I'm leaving. Then I had Elliot, my client, who's telling me, like, he feels like he's been watching too many movies. And he's got this idea in his head that, how do I say this? He's like, kind of like that, similar to like your assistant. Like, he thinks that he not only can he communicate with a goat, he's communicating with a goat, like telepathically, but it's not a goat, but it's like a goat, like kind of like goat with horns. And I'm like, wait a second, this is like, I said, he didn't, I was like, okay, let's just talk it out. But that just stuck out to me. I wrote it down. Then I was playing chess with Howard. He's still learning, but then I find out he's faking it. So he's like playing me. So he wins, and I just was like, wait a second, man. I don't know. I guess they have something going on with Howard and me, if you could tell. Then Emily was like, has like what's left of Jerry's stuff. He sold everything from his practice other than the giant friendly tooth. And I can't believe it. Like, I'm like, Jerry's not going to go. This is like, why did he sell his practice? I didn't think he was going to follow through on it. Like, there was all these other things, like surfing. There's all these other stuff he was going to do. Then I told, I guess I shouldn't say this, but I told my client about my dream. I said, what if you kiss the goat in your dream on the forehead? He said, it's not a dream. I'm here. And I said, what if you imagine you kiss this goat that's talking to you on your forehead, and it releases you from the conversation? So that took it like whatever. Then, still going back and forth. Ann Howard is still like tagging along everywhere to try to meet Jerry's date still, even though now they're moving to Tahiti together. So Bob, he says, Bob, take care of my happy tooth. We're going to drive. Can I drive to the airport? He says, yeah, I sold my car. But I'm still convinced, like, Emily is kind of broken up, and Carol and even Howard. But I'm like, he's not going to get on the plane. He's not leaving town. Then we're driving to the airport. I'm like, he's going to not go to the airport. Then he's checking in. I'm like, don't worry, he's going to back out. Then he's saying goodbye to everyone. I'm like, don't say goodbye to me. I know you're not leaving. So I guess I was in denial, right? And then he goes, and I couldn't believe it. Like, he actually moved to, and I was like, even when after he left and I got home, I'm like, he's coming back. Like, he'll be back tomorrow. And I keep waiting, I guess I keep waiting for him to come back. I mean, he's like kind of like my best friend, right? But, I kind of still don't, I guess I don't believe he moved away. And I heard from him that he got there and stuff. But I guess I'm hoping he comes back. So, I guess that makes sense. Some of my dreams do make sense in that context, huh? Well, you'll be the one to decide that, Bob. But I'm glad we talked about it, and I'm sure everybody, either you'll dream or my assistant will dream, or you don't have to dream either. You can just take it easy and say, yeah, I miss my friend Jerry. That's okay. but he's in Tahiti, and hopefully he's enjoying himself, right? And maybe even dream of that, but daydream of it. Your friend happy and in love on a trip. All right, good night. All right, good night. Good night, thanks. All right, everybody, this is Scoots with a Talk You In message from someone who supports the show. And here's what it comes down to. If you're listening to me right now, do you listen to Sleep With Me on a regular basis? If the answer is no, don't worry about anything I'm going to say after this. Can you afford to support the show back at like $10, 27, 10, $20 a month? If it's no, or if you don't have something like a subscription, you say, do I even use that? And that costs like $10 a month. I could be giving that to Sleep With Me. That makes my life better. But that's all it comes down to. Like, do you listen to Sleep With Me on a regular basis? Do you listen all night? If you listen all night, it can't be more critical that I get your attention. But yeah, if you listen to 2, 3, 4 episodes a week, like 10 episodes a month, the podcast actually makes your life better, and you count on the podcast. I got to tell you, we count on you to support the show back. If you count on the podcast, people that just like listen casually, they don't count on the podcast like you do. And those are the people we need to support. We need to support the show back. We count on them. We count on listeners like you. So I'm going to read something from somebody that counts on the podcast and that supports the show back. And this comes from Steph and Corey, who said, I've dealt with trouble falling asleep and staying asleep for my whole life. I've tried a lot of the traditional things that are supposed to help, but nothing worked for very long. I found Sleep With Me at 1 a.m. when I was desperately searching for something new, and it clicked. I started supporting the show a week later, and I supported the show ever since, and it's still putting me to sleep. And like the biggest obstacle to me signing up was I was a little worried, like everything else, that the show wouldn't work for me. There was the ad-supported version that worked just fine. It felt a little weird to pay for something you don't really listen to. But then I realized that's the point. If I'm not really listening, then it's doing its job, which is worth paying for. Holy cow. That's a great answer. I never even thought about that as an obstacle. So it's another thing I'm learning. Like, why would I pay for something that I benefit from, but I don't listen to? So thank you so much, Steph and Corey. If you identify, sign up at sleepwithmepodcast.com/plus. Can't do it without you. But I don't want to do it. Like, if I couldn't bore you to sleep, especially those of you that need the show the most, that's what makes the work magical for this podcast. So thanks.